Hi, I'm Joy Hellman, and I wanted to tell you about this little art doll that we're going to make. This doll is actually made from a pipe cleaner. It's actually made from 3 pipe cleaners. And I'm going to show you how to use the pipe cleaner, and I'm going to show you how to use fabric and fibers and beads, and really I'm going to show you how to create this little art doll out of different things and different techniques. It starts off as 3 pipe cleaners, and you wrap the pipe cleaners with fabric, and this is an example of that. This is a doll that is actually created. That's the first part of it. And you wrap the doll with fabric strips, and it covers up the pipe cleaners and makes the body, makes it more like a little body. And that's how you start. That's how I started when I first started working with and making these little dolls. And I'm hoping that you will enjoy this process and that you will take it out of the box and do your own creative, add to your own way of doing it, basically. And I think you'll have fun. Okay? Because we're going to be doing a fall fairy, you're going to be using colors that represent fall, and you can choose your own fabric. But what I've chosen is, I've chosen red and yellow and copper and pinks and magentas and those kind of colors for my autumn fairy. So you can choose what you want and what theme you want to do your fairy in. Here's an example also of another kind of fairy, and she's not exactly a fall fairy, but if you want to do a fairy that's like this, you can also do a fairy that is similar to her. And then there's another one here. This one is another little fairy that I did. She's done with purple hair, and but really, when I show you these different techniques and how to do your fairy, I want you to do your own fairy, and from your own, color scheme and theme, and see what you come up with. Okay? So, again, I will be back with the tutorial. I am going to make pipe cleaner dolls, and the way I start, I want to show you exactly how I start, is I use 3 pipe cleaners, and they can be really, you can just use white. I think that white's probably the best. I've used other things, but I think white's good. Anyway, so what I do is I decide how long I want the arms, and usually when I make my dolls, they're actually really long. They have very, very long legs and long arms. So I exaggerate that. It's not like it's, they're not really normal sized dolls. They're more like fairies, and so they do vary. I do have, some of my dolls are actually normal size, but these I actually make fairly long. So I start with just creating like a body form using 3 pipe cleaners, and if the arms are not exactly even, you can just cut off the ends. And if you don't want the legs to be that long, you can also cut the legs off a little bit. You can cut them off about to here if you want. And then I use a bead, and I fold the pipe cleaner so that it's folded, and then I take the bead. The bead's about, it's not really a really tiny bead, but it's not really a big bead either. So any bead will work. So what I do is I just put the bead have a big enough hole to work, so this hole is a little bit bigger. So that's kind of how it starts. It's just a basic body form, body armature, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take fabric strips. These strips are just strips of fabric that I got from a thrift store. Actually, I got like a big skirt that I cut up and I cut into strips. But you can use anything really to make the fabric strips. You can even use something that's kind of special that you want to use for your fabric strips. And what you do is you just start wrapping, and you wrap the pipe cleaner so that it's completely covered and you don't really see the pipe cleaner. You're going to wrap the leg all the way down to the foot, and what you're going to do also is once you get to the end of the fabric piece, you can just start over again. There's no sewing or gluing. You just wrap the leg, and you're going to wrap the leg and then start off with another piece of fabric. This is just a piece of fabric that again is from that fabric that I got from the thrift store. And you're just going to again wrap. There is an easy way to wrap the leg, and that is kind of to twist the pipe cleaner, and it's a lot easier to wrap the body. So anyway, you just wrap it, and then you wrap all the way down to the end of the foot and back up the leg, and the same thing, you wrap the other leg the same way. So that's basically what you do to create the body form. And I really don't pay too much attention to what color I use as far as the fabric strips. I just use strips to cover the body because I'm going to actually decorate the fairy or doll anyway. So when I get to the end, I start back up again overlapping the piece of fabric, just overlapping it, and starting back over and twisting over that piece of fabric and just wrapping back up again. That's really repetitious stuff. It's not like a brainer. It's really a no-brainer actually, because what you're doing is just putting a little bit of color on the body before you start to make the clothing of the fit so that it actually covers the whole entire pipe cleaner, and you won't really see that it's a pipe cleaner when you finish it. There's different things that you can do with these dolls, including making fairies, but you can also make angels, and you can also make regular little art dolls. So I will show you an example of some of mine in the next video. Okay, so I've got one leg done, and I'm going to start going up the body a little bit, and then I'm going to start the next leg. So I take another piece of fabric, and if it's got two pieces, you just kind of pull them apart. I find too that when you go to the thrift store and you get used fabric and you use recycled material, it's a great way to use material that you don't buy at a fabric store, but you buy at a store where somebody actually has worn the piece of fabric, actually worn the clothing. So, and I also go back and forth to make a little bit more thickness on the leg, on the upper part of the leg.